Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot. I hope everybody's well today and doing okay. I hope the weather's as nice where you are as it is here actually, considering it's November. It's quite sunny and quite mild today. It's quite a nice day actually. So anyway, here I am to do a video about the suits of the tarot cards. In my Learn Tarot series, I've got as far as doing videos on each of the major arcana and the court cards, and I thought before I properly get into the minor arcana I would do a little video about the suits of the cards, the elements, because I think it's quite important to understand the sort of many aspects of the suits as well. Really, it helps you to put all the pieces of the jigsaw together, if you like. So I'm going to start with wands, and I've separated all my cards out here for the minor arcana into their suits, but also the major arcana into their elements. They're not suits, but they have an element, and there's several of the major arcana that are represented by fire, which is the suit of wands. The suit of wands is represented by Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. Aries being cardinal, Leo being fixed, and Sagittarius being mutable in astrology. And I think when we think about the suits of cards, we've got fire, water, air and earth. But not only have we got that, if we were to look at them in terms of Jungian psychology or astrology, we've also got 4 different personality types, personality traits, things like that. So wands are masculine, essentially. They are ruled by fire. And in the major arcana, as I said, there are several cards that represent fire. I think Judgment is Pluto. The Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter, I believe, which is fire. Strength, which is Leo, which is fire. The Emperor, which is Aries, fire. The Tower, which is Mars, fire. Temperance, which I often think is water for some reason, but it's Sagittarius, fire. And then we've got the Sun, which obviously is fire. So as I said, there are several major arcanas involved in the suit of wands, and then we also obviously have the deck of wands, which includes numbers 1 through to 10 plus the court cards. So if we think about the suit of wands and what they actually represent, one good way I think to actually look at all of the suits of cards is if we were to use the Myers-Briggs personality scoring system, and the wands represent intuition, I guess, within that sort of scale of measuring personality types. As in that we've got what have we got? We've got intuition and sensing, haven't we? Thinking and feeling. So we've got those 4 sort of modalities. And wands would represent intuition. So it primarily is concerned with questions around why. You know, anything that you might want to put your energy into, it's the why of that. It's something a bit more nebulous. It's not like thinking or sensing. It's just wanting to understand the why of things. So the suit of wands, really, to me it's a suit that is constantly in struggle, I think. Really, there's a lot of activity and a lot of movement excuse me, involved in the suit of wands, as we can see here. Some of the movement is positive, some of the movement is of struggle and difficulty in making decisions, difficulty with movement, and in everything, all of these cards can be read in their light or their shade. But there's always, I think, an element of struggle or movement, or the possibility of movement with Wands cards. They kind of symbolise the spiritual force giving life into the universe, really, because fire stands for the vital life essence that animates us, really. I think if we think about major arcana cards, minor arcana cards, sorry, dealing primarily with the outer range of experience, then wands show us the way that our own inner fire, I guess, manifests in ordinary life. You know, what burns in you and what you actually want to do about that. As I said, wands are restless and constantly in a kind of struggle. They're a spark of the divine, really, of creativity, of intellectual intuition. It's the sort of feeling of inspiration that forms an important beginning for the whole of the creative process. Wands can represent new growth and actions in the world. And as I said, fire is male, it's life-giving, and it's an active energy. So there we go. I think that's all I wanted to say about the wands. Yeah, so yes, that's all I wanted to say about the wands. So I'm going to pause the video and I shall be back with the cups. Okay, so with the Suit of Cups, this is a feminine energy. The astrology of the Suit of Cups, so this is water. It's feminine, it's receptive. If we were to look at the astrology of the cups of water, we would have Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces, with Cancer being cardinal, Scorpio being fixed and Pisces being mutable. The major arcana cards that are involved with water and cups are the Chariot, the High Priestess, the Death card, and the Hanged Man card, and the Moon, obviously. I think I'm right about the major arcana that are involved with each suit, but don't hold me to that. I'm pretty sure I've got those right. And then if we look at the minor arcana here, if we're thinking about cups, we're thinking about feeling. As I said before, if we're thinking about the Myers-Briggs personality system, the sort of scoring personalities, then cups, being water, the element of water, would be concerned with feeling. So things that you would be concerned about if you were in your cups would be such things as, does this feel good? Does it feel bad? If you were trying to make a decision about doing something, the things that would primarily concern you are, does it feel good or does it feel bad? Water signifies the love, really, that allows our soul to receive the force of the spark of life, which comes from the wands. I think if the wands were in pursuit of love, they would be more concerned with the actual pursuit of the love, whereas a person represented by their cups would be much more concerned with the actual feeling of being in love and the experience of being in love than the pursuit of love itself. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, water softens things, it makes us receptive to growth and change. The Suit of Cups shows us our inner experience, the one that sort of flows and opens up to life, if you like. So if fire symbolises what we do, water would symbolise what we are. If we think about a river, that can change constantly in its flow and its depth. But essentially, a river retains its essential basic character, doesn't it? Underneath that, it remains constant. And I think that's the energy of cups, is that no matter whether your emotions are flowing freely, whether they're stuck, whether you're in extremes of emotions, essentially those emotions remain constant beneath everything in life. And as we can see here from these cards, the Cups cards are very concerned with relationships, with feeling, with states of feeling, whether feeling in love, feeling happy, feeling content, feeling positive, feeling secure, feeling detached from your emotions, feeling upset. Yeah. So as we can see, it's the modality of feeling. And these feelings and these emotions, they give depth to the sort of creative urge that is represented by fire. So cups, as I said, cups deal with inner experience and with emotional intuition. And the water element certainly represents heart energy. This is heart chakra energy. So I'm going to pause the video and I shall be back with Pentacles. Okay, so with Pentacles, so these obviously represent the earth element, and the astrology associated with the earth element is Virgo, Capricorn and Taurus. And we have Capricorn being cardinal, Taurus being fixed, and Virgo being mutable. And if we were to look at the Pentacles cards, the earth element, from a Myers-Briggs perspective, we would be talking about the sensing modality of the Myers-Briggs. So that would be things that you would be concerned with Pentacles and sensing would be, how do I do something? What do I need to do it? How can I achieve what I want to do? What are the necessary steps involved in what I want to do? I hope that makes sense. And some of the major arcana cards, involved with Pentacles and the earth element are the Hermit, which is Virgo, the World, which I believe is Saturn, the Empress, which is Venus, the Hierophant, which is Taurus, and the Devil, which is Capricorn. So, if we look at the minor arcana here, so these cards represent the body, really. They represent the physical world of health, money, home, work, anything that is solid and real. There's also a real love and connection to nature, I think, involved in these cards, in the Pentacles cards. And I think the pentacle in itself is quite a magical sort of symbol, isn't it? It's like a seed. It's like something to be planted in the ground, isn't it? So I think with the Pentacles, it's important to, I think the lessons involved with the Pentacles really are about effort and stamina, and also the ability to find pleasure in the mundane world around us, I suppose, to find pleasure in the mundane, to not become so concerned with materialism and success that we lose sight of our feelings and our relationships and our passions in life. Yeah. What else do I want to say about Pentacles? I think really they form a firm base for the rest of the suits. If we were to think about Pentacles, we could think of them as being sort of like the bottom layer of Maslow's triangle, of, you know, the hierarchy of needs in life. They are the very basic things. You know, if you're not in good health, if you don't have enough money, if you don't have a home, if you don't have a family around you, if you have no connection to where you live and the world around you, you'd be in a pretty sorry state, really, wouldn't you? I think so. So yeah, they form a very firm base from which we can explore and grow in the world, really. I think the material level provides an essential basis, really, for the creative, intuitive, emotional and intellectual ideas to bear fruit. And also the symbol of the five-pointed star, which is engraved on the pentacle, just really does symbolise that sort of multi-dimensional aspect of our world. So yeah, there we go. That is the Pentacles, and I shall be back in a mo with the Swords. Okay, so the suit of Swords is represented in astrology by air, and the astrology of this sign is Libra, which is cardinal, Aquarius, which is fixed, and Gemini, which is mutable. And if we were thinking about this suit in terms of Myers-Briggs and personality types and personality traits, we would associate it with thinking, with the world of thoughts and thinking. And if you were in your sort of Swords mind, you would be thinking, if you were trying to make a decision, you would be concerned with, is this the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? It wouldn't be about, how is this making me feel? Do I want to do it? It would just be purely, is this the right thing to do? Yeah, so I've left this suit till last because I'm going to read a little bit from one of my books, actually, because I think for a lot of people, I think the suit of Swords is the one that they struggle with the most. It is a difficult suit. There are a lot of very painful cards, a lot of very difficult cards in this suit, but it's a really, really important suit, I think. So if we were to look at the major arcana involved with the suit of Swords, or the air signs, we have the Fool, which is Uranus. We have the Magician, which I think is Mercury. We have the Lovers, which is Gemini. And we have Justice, which is Libra. And we have the Star, which is Aquarius. And then we have the minor arcana. And as I said, this really represents mind, pure mind, thinking states, speaking states of mind, states of conflict. So these cards can represent problems or trouble relating to communication and higher reasoning. In many ways, this suit is often seen as painful, difficult. Swords can signify pain, can't they? They are essentially a weapon, a very sharp, pointy weapon, and they can signify difficult emotional states, feeling angry. They can represent war and conflict, falling out, you know, difficult states of mind. This is a masculine element. It's the masculine intellect that seeks out truth and logic of life. thinking is essential, isn't it, to sorting out your thoughts and your emotions, you know, your ideas and your emotions. And I think a very sharp intellect could be seen as the sword of truth, couldn't it? As I said, I'm going to have a little read from the book, I think, about these swords cards, because as I was flicking through my book earlier, sort of looking for inspiration to do this video, I realised I wouldn't be able to do it as much justice as the book here has, which is 78 Degrees of Wisdom, a book of tarot by Rachel Pollock, which is just a fantastic book. I read this many, many years ago, and actually I probably need to read it again because it's brilliant. So it says here, swords belong to the element of air or wind, often seen as the closest to ether or spirit. The word spirit relates directly to the word breath, and in Hebrew for the word for spirit and the word for wind are the same. Just as air constantly moves, so the mind never rests, twisting and turning, sometimes violent, sometimes calm, but always moving. Anyone who has tried to meditate will know how persistently the mind moves, which is very true, isn't it? One problem connected with swords is that of the ungrounded thought, or what we might call a Hamlet complex. The mind sees so many sides to a situation, so many possibilities, that understanding, let alone action, becomes impossible. Which is what we're seeing there, isn't it? That's what this card is telling us, is that we're trapped by our own thinking, really. Because our culture has always emphasised rationality, many people today see thinking in general as the cause of all of life's problems. I think this is what I wanted to address here, because I have a good friend actually who really is interested in tarot, but he really does struggle with the Suit of Swords, and I did hope that today I would be able to paint a slightly different and more positive picture of swords. So, as I said, many people today see thinking in general as the cause of all life's problems. If we just stop thinking, they tell us, then everything will work out okay. And even if such a thing were possible, the tarot tells us that it would not benefit us. We do not overcome the problem of an element by banishing it or replacing it with something, but rather by combining it with other elements. The fact is, the more confused we are, the more we need our minds, because nothing else can sort out the truth. We need also, however, to combine air with water, that is emotion with receptivity, and we also need to combine it with ether, spirit, and the deep values grounded in spiritual and psychological truth that we see embodied in the major arcana. And then the problem of air changes to the way of wisdom. The more obvious problems shown in swords is that of sorrow, pain, anger, and the stormy side of air. We cannot overcome these things by ignoring them, but we can add to swords the optimism of wands, and we can use pentacles to take ourselves out of our emotions through an involvement with work, nature, and the outside world. So I just thought that that was a really helpful sort of paragraph, really, because as I said, when we look at the Suit of Swords, we've got so many difficult energies here. You know, in this card, we're trying to move away from negativity to something calmer, something less stormy. Here, there's a paranoia, isn't there? There's a suspicion. There's something about that card, isn't there? Here, we've become overcome by our thought processes. Here, we can't make a decision. You know, our head and our heart are in conflict. Here we're burnt out, we need a rest, we need to stop thinking for a time. Here we're tormented by our thoughts. Here we feel defeated by our thoughts. And then we have the court cards, where there's always swords sort of flashing around, sharp pointy swords, the sword of truth. Yeah, so I just wanted to try and paint a little bit more of a positive picture of swords, really, that they're not to be seen kind of in isolation. They need to blend with the other elements, and they need to blend with the wisdom, the inner wisdom of the major arcana also. So anyway, I hope that you found this video helpful, and I shall be back fairly soon, I hope, to start on the minor arcana with the aces. And I will also, I think, probably bring a video on my favourite court cards, because I did one on the favourite major arcana cards and I really enjoyed that. So I shall probably do my favourite court cards as well around the time that I start the minor arcana. So as I said, I hope that that was helpful. I hope that might bring some clarity to the suits, to the astrology, to the themes, to the meanings. The little Myers-Briggs bit about how these elements relate to our personalities and our personality traits. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. Do give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.